Hi, I'm Dr. Lilit Garibyan, Assistant Professor of Dermatology at Harvard Medical School and a physician scientist at the Wellman Center for Photomedicine at Massachusetts General Hospital.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael O'Brook. I'm one of the current laser and research fellows over at Harvard and Massachusetts General in the Wellman Laboratories. So, Dr. Garibyan, congratulations on the Horace Furumoto Young Investigators Award. That is a massive accomplishment. We're extremely proud of you. Talk to me about it.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor to be the recipient of that award, and it really means a lot to me since Dr. Horace Furumoto Award is really awarded for young investigators who are leaders in innovation, which I aspire to be, and I hope I've become by this point. I love innovation. I love being a physician scientist, finding unmet needs, and trying to work on solutions, and then bringing those solutions to the patients.
That's fantastic. And aspire is a nice word, but you are firmly there. You have created so many things and such innovation, and I think that's a huge component of this this meeting. So talk to me a little bit more about, I mean, the list goes on, but cold slurry is on everybody's mind, so talk to me.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that has really been my main project since 2012, which is when I joined Dr. Rox Anderson's laboratory as a resident in dermatology, trying to understand how cooling could be used to target nerves. And through that work, we ended up developing this technology, and I've really spent the past 9 years of my life pioneering the use of ice slurry for various therapeutic applications. I think the therapeutic applications for ice slurry go well beyond just aesthetic fat removal, but you know, we still have a lot of work to do to bring this to the patients, but I think we're very close.
Well, fantastic. I think, you know, for those that might not, some people still live under a rock, and some people might not be familiar with this ice slurry, but it's amazing. Correct me if I'm wrong, one of the first in-print publications was with PRS, and that's where you demonstrated that beautiful reduction of fat. So again, tell me a little bit more about the ice slurry. It's an injectable, it's a topical.
Yes, so ice slurry is actually a biocompatible, sterile injectable. It's composed of ice particles and a liquid portion, hence the slurry. And although it sounds simple, it took years to make this mixture injectable. But it was a fun journey, and we got it down. And basically what you do is you make this mixture, and by the way, it's made of biocompatible components,
it's
normal
fantastic.
saline and glycerol, which is great because none of that is toxic and has been routinely used in patient care. And once you inject it into tissue, it's that physical act of cooling that's able to selectively affect lipid-rich tissue, which includes adipose tissue. And what we think really happens is that ice, as it melts, it's able to extract a lot of heat from the adipose tissue, and by doing so lead to crystallization of the lipids, which then induces apoptosis of the fat cells. So even though it's cold enough to have an effect on the fat tissue, it doesn't do any damage to the surrounding muscle or skin, which is great. That's what makes it selective. And as you know, we do use this cooling technologies to remove fat. The very well-known Cool Sculpting, which is like the first cryolipolysis device. But I do think that our method has several advantages over that, in that it really is much more efficient. It literally takes seconds to inject, as opposed to cooling it topically, which could take 45 minutes to an hour.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also it's much more efficient because you're delivering the cold directly into the target tissue. And I do think it allows this to be customizable, which is really nice because it really will put more control and power in the hands of the physicians who will do these treatments.
No, it's a very fantastic point on, one, the novelty of it, but two, how we can customize this as this kind of goes and blossoms to market, hopefully in the near future on there. It's an interesting technology. What do you think it has applications for, maybe outside of adipose tissue or any lipid-rich tissue for that matter? It's a curious thought.
No, very good question. So One of the tissues within our body that's also lipid-rich is myelin sheets around our nerves. It's actually 75% to 80% lipid, which, it's almost comparable to that of adipose tissue.
Yeah.
So we are pursuing applications of using this as a way of targeting peripheral nerves.
Clever.
To treat pain, yeah.
Hence the Horace Furumoto Award for pushing innovation to the future. It's very clever, very clever.
Thank you. I think it's important to, not just think within your own specialty. As dermatologists, obviously we treat fat, but we took this technology beyond dermatology because it is a platform technology. I mean, this is the first time ever you have an injectable that could target fat anywhere within the human body, right? So as doctors, what we did is we just said, okay, well, where does fat play pathologic role?
Yeah.
And we're also pursuing applications in obstructive sleep apnea because there is
fantastic.
Evidence.
And a huge unmet need.
Yes.
These are big problems to tackle.
Yes. And we're also trying to target visceral fat because, as you know, visceral fat, depending on the location, could have various disease-causing effects. For example, adipose tissue around the heart, visceral fat around the heart, visceral fat around the belly. So those are things that we're actively pursuing in animal models.
I like it. So with some glycerol, a good spirit, an innovative mind, you're tackling cardiovascular disease, sleep apnea, the list goes on, and not to mention just the adipose tissue in general. It's fantastic. So
It's going to keep me really busy.
It definitely will, as it already has. I would say one thing for maybe some of the younger folks, and even anyone listening on this, is, that's quite the journey. And I know you speak on that, and I think you do an amazing job. I think one of the beauties of innovation is it's not easy, and it takes a lot of time. So you have certainly put in that dedication. Anything along the way that has been more of a standout moment, those kind of moments that we don't see where it's like, I should just give up on this idea, versus, I just should have reformulated it there. Anything that comes to mind?
That's a really good question. And you're right, it is a journey.
Yes.
And I want the audience or the members of ASLMS to really know that innovation takes time. Nothing happens overnight, over a year or two, even 3.
Yeah.
I've been at this for 9 years and still we have, a lot of work left to do to bring this to the patients. But it is a very rewarding journey because along the way you learn a lot, you fail, and you learn how to get up again. And there's a lot of ups and downs, but I think the key is really to commit and remember what you're doing this for. Like for me, I was really doing it because I wanted a novel treatment for pain and itch because that's something that we deal a lot.
Yeah.
But when these other opportunities came along the way as a physician scientist, I said, why not? I mean, I think that's another beauty of the ASLMS Society and the conference is that we don't just target skin, we try to work with all the different specialties, to use energy-based devices to treat diseases, right? I mean, being an inventor of a platform technology has allowed me to work closely with so many different subspecialties. Like for the sleep apnea, I'm working closely with the amazing ENT collaborator from Walter Reed. For the cardiothoracic part, I'm working with a cardiac surgeon. For visceral fat, you work with some other people who are endocrinologists and expert in that. So along the way, I learned a lot too. But to answer your question, what is an outstanding moment? I have to say early on, we didn't know how to make ice injectable. So we were trying many different techniques and many different methods.
A lot of shortcomings, too viscous, the temperature wasn't controlled.
It just wouldn't go through the needle. I mean, it sounds easy, but it's not. Try injecting your slushy that you get from 7-Eleven or your blended ice at home. It won't be easy.
So maybe it's an Einstein quotation, or I may be misattributing it, that all things are hard until they're easy. So you have to push through that hard to get to the other side. And you've done that.
Yeah.
You're doing it. That's
Thank you.
inspiring, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank
Tremendously.
you.
It's
Thank you.
that kind of innovation is what pushes things forward, and it sounds like that's sort of your take on why people should attend ASLMS.
Yes.
Is really that innovative component and really bringing in a ton of different specialties. But what's your take on it?
I think my take is that you have to be around people who do this type of work to believe in yourself, to get empowered and know that you could do it too.
Yeah.
For me, that person has been Dr. Rox Anderson, who really took me into his lab, and I was this resident in dermatology with a crazy idea, no background on energy-based devices, no background on cutaneous nerves or peripheral nerves, but I had an idea and I had the passion.
Yeah.
My PhD from Harvard was in immunology, so it had nothing to do with what I ended up working in. But he really believed in me, he empowered me, and he taught me how innovation is done, and now I'm trying to pay that forward to everybody else. And I think ASLMS has people like that, and I think ASLMS also provides you with this multidisciplinary environment where you could find experts that are beyond dermatology who you could collaborate with. And also I think they provide funding. I'm part of the Research and Development Committee where we give out several grants per year for innovative ideas within our specialty and within just lasers in dermatology and energy-based devices, and I think that also helps stimulate innovation.
Well, I love that, and I couldn't agree with that more. This is really an innovative conference where things are pushed forward, and like you said, it's that intermingling of ideas. And just to close on there, I think we couldn't agree more with Rox as our mentor, and there's some quotation along the lines of that a great mentor doesn't see you as you are, they see you as what you could become.
Exactly.
And I really love that about the team over at Harvard, and Rox in particular, and I'm so proud of you.
I agree. Thank
and
you
I
so
think
much.
that energy coming to ASLMS is exactly the kind of thing that brings out more innovation and more future discoveries. So very excited to see where things take Lilit Garibyan in the very near and future.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Yes.
So, and thank you guys. So,
Thank you.
yeah.